Hi, it's Jennifer here, Daughter with Spirit, and today I am back with a brand new episode. And today I'm going to tell you a little bit about the Myrtles Plantation. The Myrtles Plantation is in St Francisville, Louisiana. It was built in 1796 by General David Bradford, and he was a wealthy judge and a businessman, and he was also had a part in the Whiskey Rebellion. He was later pardoned by President Adams. I always wonder what kind of characters these people really were. Was it something big? Did he have a big part in it? Was it a little misdemeanor? You never know. Did he have to pay someone off to be pardoned? So in 1796, General David Bradford built the Myrtles Plantation. In 1808, upon his death, his widow sold the plantation to his son-in-law, Clark Woodruff. Now, Clark was married to General Bradford's daughter, Sarah. And like Bradford, Clark Woodruff was also a wealthy businessman, and he was also a slave owner. He owned numerous slaves, and the most famous slave was Chloe. Chloe was said to also have been his mistress. Chloe was a slave girl who ran the house, took care of the kids, cooked. She probably pretty much ran everything in the house. So one night, it is rumored that Clark Woodruff saw a shadow under the door, and he knew that Chloe had a habit of eavesdropping. So he opened the door and caught Chloe in the act and ordered that her ears be cut off. I can't imagine. I don't know if it was one or both ears, but I can't imagine the humiliation and the pain that would cause. So after her ears were cut off, it is said that Chloe wore a green turban to hide her disfigurement. I do know that folklore has it that to get in good graces with Mr. Woodruff, that Chloe baked a special birthday cake for his daughter's 9th birthday. Chloe just wanted to make the family a little bit sick, and then she would be able to nurse them back to health, and she would be in good graces. So Chloe, it's said that Chloe took oleander leaves and boiled them down and made an extract and baked it into this birthday cake. Very sweet. But Sarah and both of the girls passed away. It's said that the rest of the slaves took Chloe and threw her in the Mississippi River. Now, I don't know if that part is true, but it stands to say that behind every legend, every tale, there's a little bit of truth. I do believe that Chloe was a slave there. Not positive if her ears were cut off. I could see where that could be true, where that would happen. But now I'm going to stop. This is where the legend stops, and this is where my experience begins. So back in 2010, I checked into the Myrtles Plantation with my family, and it was a nice size house for that time. I can tell you that it didn't start off that big when it was built. Over the years, down through the previous owners, and as it passed on, the house came to be a big 22-room, 2-story house. It was a very big house for that time. So when we checked in, me being the animal lover that I am, I saw a cat. Here, kitty, kitty, and the kitty didn't kitty. He didn't come to me. So I remember getting my feelings hurt a little bit because the cat didn't come. And I thought, all cats love me, dogs love me, and that cat didn't come to me. So it kind of stuck in my head. I got my feelings hurt. So later on, we went to the restaurant there that was part of the former carriage house. Very beautiful, steeped in history. The floor was red brick. I remember like it was yesterday. It was so neat. I had fried green tomatoes. They were amazing. That was a long time ago, but it was something that stuck with me, and I loved it. So we were not able to get a room in the main house, but the rooms that we had were more like kind of like motel rooms, cottage rooms, And they were built behind the restaurant in what used to be the stable. And that's where the horses and the slaves would have stayed. Now, over the years, there had been several fires and had been burned down and rebuilt. So that's where the 2 rooms that we were at were located. So when we retired back to our rooms, we had several experiences. I'm going to call them experiences. So the first one was my mom called me and asked me to come get her soda. It was a plastic bottle of soda and had rolled under the bed. She couldn't reach it. So I went out of my room into her room, and as I opened the door, the cat that would not come to me ran in her room, and we both freaked out a little bit. I'm like, oh my gosh, why is this cat running in here? And the cat was very friendly then. Then I got down on the floor to get the bottle from under her bed, and it was just barely out of my reach. So I went to the other side of the bed, lifted the blanket, and it was barely out of my reach. I swear I had moved back where I couldn't get it. Went to the end of the bed, finally was able to, dig it out with something. And that freaked me out a little bit. So I went back to my room, went to bed, and I woke up to a huge crash. So the only thing that I can, as I try to explain the sound is like porcelain. So if you were to take the tank lid off of a toilet and slam it down on concrete, it sounded like porcelain breaking. And it was something that was really, really heavy. And I thought, oh my goodness, did my mom have an accident in the bathroom? Like, did she fall and hit the toilet? I knew it was the sound of porcelain. It was something like that. And I freaked out, woke up, went over there, and she was fine. Thank God. And, I asked her, I remember I said, oh my gosh, did you hear that crash? And of course, my husband slept through it. So the next time there was a knock on the door, and it was my mom. And she asked me what my husband had been doing outside her room, that she heard him talking. And I said, no, he's been asleep the whole time. This was freaky. This is a whole string of events. My mother also saw and heard an older man and a woman and a young boy who I never saw. I never heard them. They were not there the next morning because I could see in the room was vacant. The window curtains were open where no one had been there. So we only stayed that one night, but I can tell you that sound, I don't know if it was necessarily an active haunting. I think maybe it was more residual, because that had been the actual stable, the slave quarters where, horses and slaves had passed away on that spot, which I didn't know that we were going to be staying there before I made the reservation. But, history has a way of holding on to energy. Or land has a way of holding on to energy. So I thought that was really interesting. And there are some famous pictures of the Myrtles Plantation. So if you're interested in reading up about more history on the Myrtles Plantation, I would say it's awesome. It's an awesome place. Tons of history. There's only one murder that is that we know for sure that happened. And that is William Winter, I believe. He is the only one I remember. He was shot and he passed away on the steps going upstairs to the second floor. But every place has history, and if we don't learn from it, sometimes it repeats itself. But I wanted to know your thoughts, your opinions. What do you think about the Myrtles Plantation? Do you believe in hauntings? Do you believe in ghosts? Do you have you ever been to the Myrtles Plantation? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to ring the bell and check me out on Facebook for live psychic medium gallery readings on Wednesdays and Sundays. And thanks for watching. Bye.